trying to get you from being where you were to where he wants you to be. So stop worrying about where you are right now. Start looking at your future, because I know something Bishop Blake always say, I see you in the future, and I see your future is better than you are right now. I know you don't look like what you're going to look like later on, but look, thanks be to God where I am right. Somebody say, I'm not where I want to be, but I'm not where I used to be either. If you'd have caught me 5 years ago, I'd have been a mess. If you'd have caught him 10 years ago, I'd have been a mess. So I thank God that I'm not stuck on stupid where I am, but I got somewhere to go. So God's not concerned about your now, he's concerned about your tomorrow. Look at somebody, say, he's concerned about your tomorrow, because he takes fools, he takes nobody, he takes nuts, he takes people who don't have good sense, he takes folks that don't got an education. As a matter of fact, there is 100,000 millionaires in America right now, and guess what? 80% of those millionaires barely graduated from high school. You know why? Because God will take a dummy and he'll give you a business mind. You know, them dope dealers on the corner got better business minds than some of the CEOs in Wall Street. You know, some of y'all ain't helping me. Some of y'all are caught up in what you got. But let me tell you something. This is going to be the year where God takes people that don't have nothing. Oh, I'm thank God that this year is almost up, because 2010 is getting ready to be a year that God takes people with nothing and they going to supersede and jump over. So those folks who thought they had something, and God's getting ready to take a nation of people who seemed like they wasn't going to make it, and he's going to make you into something, because God is a God that's making me over. I don't know about you, but I thank God that he's willing to make me over. You got to lift your hands and say, God, do an extreme makeover. Do an extreme makeover on me. I don't want to be who I am today next year. By the next 2 months, God's going to show you so much stuff. He's going to take you so many places that folks are going to say, what happened? It's because God expected. He took you through a place of expectancy and expediency that you, I'm not going to get no help up in here. Y'all making me preach already. But the truth, I can't wait. Look at somebody say, I can't wait till 2010. I can't wait till 09 is over. It's been a mess. It's been hard. People been dogging me, but I come by to tell you 2010 is right around the corner. Yeah. And 2010, I'm going to be all the way in. Amen, somebody. Look at somebody, say, sit down. Woo, I'm going to be all the way in. Look at somebody, say, all the way in. Woo, I feel sorry for some of y'all super saved saints, because I'm going to use some of them folks that didn't have nothing. They ain't never said nothing. They ain't even jumped up when the preacher was preaching. They don't have no hymns in their repertoire. They don't got no scriptures in their bags, but they know Jesus is real. All they going to say is, you know what? Jesus is real. And folks going to start getting saved and delivered, because it's time out for the super saved folks who think they got it all together. And it's time in for those who came from somewhere. God is about to use nobodies. I feel like preaching it here. God is about to use nobodies, and he's getting ready to raise you up and put you on a pedestal so the world can see that God can do something through misfits. Ooh, look at somebody, say, I'm a misfit, but God's going to use me. Ooh, see, your greatest ability is not where you've been. Your greatest ability is not what you have. If you might have a Bentley, you might have a car, you might have a couple of houses, you might have an education, you may not have it there, but God said your greatest ability is your availability. The Lord, I sing a song that said, Lord, I'm available to you. My storage is empty, and I am available to you. Anybody in here available to God? I'm just wide open right now. I forgot about what I had. You know what? Paul said it like this. He said, I count all of my education. I count all of the jobs I had. I count all of the positions I had. He said, I call it dung. That word dung means doo-doo. He said, I call that stuff doo-doo. That ain't nothing but mess to me. I count it all for Christ. He said, when I met Christ, all that stuff didn't mean nothing. Throw it out the door. Look at it. Because God can use a misfit. Because your greatest ability is your... you better get that quote in your spirit. Your greatest ability is your availability. Tell somebody, just repeat it one more time in their face and say, your greatest ability is your availability. Are you available to God? Are you willing to walk through things that people don't want to walk through? Are you willing to say things that other folks won't say? Are you willing? Some people say, last service I was talking about those folks that were after our church member, and I mentioned the church name. Amen. They said, boy, you crazy. I'm just willing to say, I'm willing to call a devil a devil. I'm willing to call a spade a spade. I'm willing to call a liar, and a cheater a cheater. Amen, somebody. I ain't holding back nothing. This is going to be the year that I ain't holding back nothing. I'm I'm coming through. Y'all ain't helping me in here, but I'm coming through, jumping over troops and leaping over walls. I'm ready to beat some devils upside the head. And if I gotta call your name out, I'ma call your name out. I done it before all over the city. That's why you don't see no sissies come walking in here with they broke wrists trying to look up, they don't come in here with all that up in here, because they know there's a Negro up in there that'll call me out. Now, don't go up in there. They tell their friends, I know you go to church, but don't go to FTC, because that fool right there will call you out. I want to be in the choir. No, you don't. Not up in here. I don't care how much money you put in here from your hair shops that you own. I ain't gonna mess with that. I ain't gonna mess with that. But if you come in here with painted fingernails, I got news for you. It's time to cast the devil out. Amen, somebody. You can sit up in here all you want to, but you ain't getting ready to sing to me. You ain't getting ready to preach to me. You ain't getting ready to teach no classes. You're going to sit your butt down and get the devil casted out of you. And if you don't want him to come out, then you just let him stay in. That's your business. But you ain't going to influence our children. You ain't going to influence our families. You ain't going to influence. Yeah. Ooh, Jesus. Look at somebody and say, we ain't putting up with it. Kindred, I just made up in my mind. I'd rather be broke. I'd rather have a broke church than to have a church full of sissies. I'd rather have a broke church than a church full of drunkards. I'd rather have a broke church. I'm going to places and they're ordaining people that just got out of I guess they out of homosexuality. I see them walking in the mall with their boyfriends in the mall. Now they got a collar on like me. The devil is a liar. Shout yeah.